Hi, I'm Jose Hernandez, owner of CSM Fitness, and I want to talk today about the ups and downs of owning a small business. So I've been I don't usually like to talk about this stuff, but I've really had a rough time this week. Just bad news after bad news, small things happening. I had some fraud, get us for some money. This week, we had a cancellation of an order that we've kind of been expecting for over 3 months now, because of the product that they wanted was very specific, and no one ever told me until this morning, basically telling me that, hey, the product has to match exact, which is a problem. On top of I had a customer leave me a bad review yesterday on Instagram because she felt like we didn't do enough for her, but she just didn't read her terms and conditions. She doesn't understand what she bought and how she bought it, which is frustrating because people buy stuff and they think that that's it. I mean, no one ever reads, no one ever asks. This customer basically received her product damaged. She didn't sign for it damaged. It's on our terms and conditions. It's everywhere when it comes on to shipping. We still try to make her whole and shipped over a console that was busted. It cost us like $700 to get it. And she was still pissed off about the scuffs and the marks that the damage left the unit. We drew the line in the sand. We're like, look, we're not replacing the panels, and she got pissed off. It is what it is. On top of some personal stuff we've been going through, we've been going through the process of actually buying a gym right now, and it's just tough right now with what's going on with lending and just the banks and everything. It's just super frustrating. So I say all that to kind of talk about how when you own a small business or you own a business, I would assume in any level that it's peaks and valleys, and that most of it's not just always going to be good, and it's not always just going to be bad, but I think that it's hard when it's bad. Because it's just you on your own. You're kind of in an island to yourself. So when fraud happens, it's on you. When customer gets pissed off, as hard as you work to try to make sure everybody's happy, it's on you. So that's kind of one of those things you got to kind of deal with as you're building a business, is that you have to know that these things are going to happen, and that there's going to be some bad times along with the good times. It's so funny because last week we had a really good week and things are great, and I was on sky high. I was totally, on cloud nine, let's just say, right, with all the good news we got. And then this week is the complete opposite, delays in shipping, like I said, bad reviews, orders are slow, all kinds of stuff. So what can you do to get yourself out of them is actually a good, have some advice on it, right? So usually what I do is I make a list of the problems that come up, super basic, put it on a piece of paper, and I basically tell myself, check, and I try to come up with a solution for the problem, or a conclusion to the problem, not necessarily a solution. So for example, I'm dealing with a truck situation, and I'm look, this is the conclusion. The conclusion is it's not going anywhere. So let's just scratch it off and just forget about it. On to the next one, right? With the order that I was talking about earlier, that big order that I was waiting for, I'm basically went through all the options that I have, and I'm basically just going to back out of the deal. I'm just going to tell them, look, I can't fulfill it the way you guys need it fulfilled, so I'm just not going to be able to do the deal. Even though I put 3 months of work into it and I have countless of hours into this job, I'm just going to have to humbly back out and leave it up to the gods to basically figure it out. And I'm sure they'll find somebody to help them out. As far as the fraud situation, I actually thought about this morning, and I just wanted to, reach out to the guy that was basically that they stole his credit card, come up with some sort of solution. Obviously, we got to refund him his money somehow, but it's a little bit of a process in order to do that because the order is under how it all happened. The order was in like a different guy's name, so I don't even know how I got through my website, because usually the credit card and the credit card number and the address all has to match. So I still kind of have some questions about it, but basically, that's where I end up with that one. So I'm gonna wait for the customer to call me back and basically tell me not the customer. I'm gonna wait for the guy that said his credit card got stolen. Call me back. I'm gonna have him actually dispute the credit card, so I could then go back and say, hey, yes, this was fraudulent, and tell my credit card processing, we didn't know, this is the information, this is what we have. As far as the bad review goes, it took everything in my fiber of my body not to respond to this person. I understand that things don't necessarily happen the way that it didn't happen, the way this lady pictured, but at the end of the day, we're a small business, and to leave people a bad review or to, I don't know, I just feel like it's just shady. She's a hairdresser, this lady, and she understands owning a small business, but I don't think she understands if she gives somebody a bad haircut, they might just never come back, But if a customer asked her, hey, can you dye my hair pink? And she says, listen, you might not like this pink, but if you are gonna get your hair pink, I want you to sign this disclaimer here so that you acknowledge that I'm not responsible for your hair becoming pink, just because I don't want to be held responsible. The customer agrees to it, signs it, and then the customer gets pissed off because their hair is pink and they didn't like it. There you go. That's kind of similar to what happened. So I think that's the best way to explain it to her, but I don't think she understood. And I'm just going to let it be. It is what it is. We do a good job of trying to stride and do the best we can for people. So then, boom, write that off. It still has an emotional toll because you're emotionally invested in your business, but it doesn't have to pass that day that it happened. Some of these things are going to linger a little bit, but I would say even if they're lingering, just try to write a note, and just once they're all checked off the list of all the things you have to deal with that day that are bad or that are really bringing the lows in the business, just kind of crumbling it up and just throwing it out, and that's it. And then you just move on. Otherwise, you'll carry that like a weight on your shoulders for the next day, the next 2 days, even the next week. And it shows, it shows when you're talking to customers. It shows when you're dealing with vendors. It shows when you're dealing with your employees that you're off because something's bothering you. And then you turn around and you take it home too. And then it shows with your wife. It shows with your kids. It's just not a good, it's not a good place to be mentally. So, just know that these things are normal and that you're going to have your ups and downs and you're going to have to deal with them the best you can. I personally, like I said, I write a list and I go through them and I try to throw them out. And I'm going to go work out, which is always great. Get some of the frustration out. And, from there, I'm just going to try to let it go. And I suggest you do too. So, move on to the next deal. And trust me, if you're doing the right thing and you're working your ass off, something else is coming better down the line. So don't focus too much on the negative. All right. I hope that helps somebody. And that's it. So until the next one.